A government should feel extremely guilty where by acts of omission or whatever action, they make human beings become destitute. Human beings who own the land. And Mr. Speaker, when this commission is going around, I would like them to look at one thing about IDP specifically. The IDs own the properties in some areas, Mr. Speaker. And if we have a country by the rule of law which protects the sanctity of the title, for example, truly, either these properties are sold and the people are, the original owners are compensated, or, Mr. Speaker, if we are seriously having a peaceful situation, let them be allowed, let them be enabled to go back into those areas, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we cannot be double speaking. We are here for the livelihood of the people. Forget anything else we are doing. Development are not big planes flying around. Development are not tarmac roads going around. Development is when the ordinary person can be able to feed his family, when the ordinary person is living a decent life, the ordinary person can go to a hospital, get medicine. Mr. Speaker, I want to say this matter is so central and is so deep into the issues of democracy and the issues of justice that I want this committee to reconsider. Even if they need to enlarge the committee, but have actually come up with a report that would be conclusive and demanding from the government immediate action. Let it not just come another report which you gather dust somewhere, Mr. Speaker. The people in Nyandarua, I sympathize with them. The people of Laikipia, I sympathize with them. The people in Western Kenya, I sympathize with them. The people in Nyanza, I sympathize with them, who are all displaced during the so-called clashes, which were investigated by us leaders. No ordinary person can go instigating some of this violence. It is instigated by us leaders, Mr. Speaker. And the worst thing that we did was to ignore and forget those people to live in misery. Some of them have died, Mr. Speaker. And I want to say that I hope when the report comes, it should be acted upon, Mr. Speaker. And if there is anybody who has misappropriated resources that was supposed to settle the people.
What's your point of order, Senator Khaniri?
Mr. Speaker, I have tremendous respect for the senator on the floor, the senator from Kirinyaga. But, Mr. Speaker, this House is guided
Senator
by...
from Nyeri.
From Nyeri, sorry. Yep. From Nyeri, sorry. Senator from Nyeri, Senator Ephraim Maina. We have our standing orders that guide debate in this House. This is a petition. It's not a motion. It's not a bill. Mr. Speaker, standing order number 231, it's very clear on comments on petition that such comments will not exceed 30 minutes. So if there's one senator will take 20 minutes speaking, then what will happen to the other senators, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, this has to be controlled.
Okay, but
Okay.
Mr. Khaniri, I've not spoken.
Senator Khaniri.
Oh, Senator Khaniri, I've not spoken in the many words you keep throwing into this House. I've only spoken a pitiful of the words you speak. And I'm not a man of many words. And I'm coming to the end, Mr. Speaker.
Conclude.
Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, and I'm not concluding because I was rudely disrupted. No. I'm concluding because I recognize there are some of us who are slower and we need to carry them along with us, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to conclude by saying let us be sympathetic, let us look at the lives of the people who have been displaced, including the people, some of them who may be from Senator Khaniri's place, and justice be done. Thank you.
Honorable Senators, we are running out of time on petitions, so I'll only allow Dr. Zani. Then we go to other statements. Dr. Zani. Okay, take the shortest time possible so that I can see there's a lot of interest, but we must move. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think a lot already has been said, and quite a bit of it is going to be repetition. Some time back, I had a chance to talk about statelessness in one of the forums that I went to. This is not about statelessness, but it is about displacement, which is just as bad. Because when you don't have a sense of identity, when you don't feel you belong, when inequality is very, very high, when you cannot contribute functionally as a person to a country, then it is a problem. It's really sad that for this particular country, Nyandarua, it's come to the fore. But, Mr. Speaker, I'm sure many other counties have the same situation. I plead that as this committee interrogates this issue, that they probably try to address this on a broad scale so that they can identify and have this situation sorted once and for all. Mr. Speaker, I think it has gone on for far too long, and Senator Gidiomi, we are happy that you've been able to bring it to the table. The committee really needs to do a good job so that they can establish for us a sense of being, a sense of integrity, a sense of self-esteem that every Kenyan is actually meant to have in this country. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Kabaka, 2 minutes, and Senator Ochilo Ayako, what is your point of order from wherever you are? Start coming. Senator Kabaka. Kabaka.
My brother, it is me. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity also to contribute to this important statement. But, petition, slip of tongue, by my friend, Senator for Nyandarua, Senator Gidiomi, very experienced senator, having served both in the National Assembly and the Senate for some time. Mr. Speaker, I don't want to repeat what has been said. That would be tautological. I only need to state that, yes, I need to say that this issue of refugees in their own states or in their own country is very touchy, and is no different from the international refugees. Like we've had refugees suffering even in their own camps. But of necessity, the issue which I need to state is that, Mr. Speaker, is the issue of this land. That issue which has been pinpointed by several senators before, who spoke before me. And I think it's high time that the other agencies of the government be involved to investigate who took what or who took which land. Money is not everything here. Some people might have been compensated in monetary terms, but others are sentimentally attached to their land, because that is the land they know, which they were born, perhaps. The second issue touches on the Kenya Railways pensioners, retirement benefits, pensioners scheme. It is very emotive. I'm saying so, for those who don't know, I've worked in railway for 9 years. And it's a very big letdown to the pioneers of Kenya Railways, East African Railways, then Kenya Railways. They worked hard for these parastatal, these institutions, and even other related parastatals like the defunct KPLC, Kenya Post and Telecommunication, which demerged to 3 agencies. So what I'm saying here is that the mismanagement of these funds, which enormously totals to billions of Kenyan shillings, is very sad. And I think there is collusion between those in management, the actuarial bodies which run today affairs of the scheme, And, Mr. Speaker, therefore, as I conclude, for other senators to speak, I am saying that the head must roll. The corruptions in this country is too much, and therefore it's important even people should revisit their moral concerns. I support Mr. Speaker, sir.
Senator Ochilo, what's your point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my point of order is that we are very lonely in the other chambers. We've been trying to catch your attention, and seemingly all the members here are the ones visible, except only Senator Maruma. So my point of order is, you had indicated that I come from wherever I am, so I've come from wherever I am so that you are able to recognize me.
Can you then make your contribution? 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, thank you for giving me an opportunity and to recognize that there is another chamber nearby. Mr. Speaker, there are two petitions here, one regarding pensions and another regarding internally displaced persons. Mr. Speaker, there are many factors that cause internal displacement of people, but the one that is sensitive and the one that most people speak to is one that is caused by politicians. There are factors that do this, economic factors, operations of the law, disaster, but we never try and settle our people who are displaced because of economic factors or factors that are disaster. In the county where I come from, Migori County, we have incessant flooding. We have the lake, reclaiming land, and many people are displaced year in, year out. The response we get from government time and again is that these people should move to high grounds. Mr. Speaker, I want to beg the committee to which this petition is being taken to also consider discussing internal displacement of persons caused by factors other than political disagreements or violence. Now, Mr. Speaker, regarding pension, the elephant in the room is pension in counties, particularly pensions that relate to former local authorities. And Mr. Speaker, when you look at all these counties, you will find out that there is no pension that is being prepared for retirees. If you look at counties, particularly the ones that have sugar milling plants that are state-owned, Mumias, Sony, Chemelil, the employees have not been paid for 1 year. I doubt whether their pension is being looked into and whether they are likely to get their pension when they retire. I want to request the committee to which this petition is being taken to ensure that they look at all the pensions in light of the fact that COVID. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, Senator Musurve, 2 minutes. And honorable senators, let us observe social distancing. I notice that we are slowly getting back into our normal operations. Please, COVID is real. Yes, Senator Musurve.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to make my contributions. And Honorable Speaker, I want to really support the two senators, Senator Githiomi and Senator Mbito, for their petitions, because these are petitions that are revolving around people. And when you look at our motto, Honorable Speaker, the Senate motto revolves around the society and people, and that actually tells that we must represent people effectively. Honorable Speaker, concerning the petition of Senator Githiomi, in fact, when you are branded an IDP, that already sets a negative thought about someone. There is need, Honorable Speaker, for us to ensure that IDPs are given placement, and even when it comes to compensation, Honorable Speaker, the compensation of IDPs should be standard across the board, Honorable Speaker. There should not be that there are some IDPs who are getting less than others because they are all affected, and it's a painful thorn to all of the flesh, a painful thorn in the flesh of all IDPs, regardless of where they come from. Honorable Speaker, concerning the petition of Senator Mbito, it is a very viable petition, Honorable Speaker. This people, these members of staff who have already retired, they worked for Kenya Railways when they were energetic, they gave all their lives, and eventually their pension has been, swindled by people. Honorable Speaker, it is really painful that during your youthful years, you are doing a lot of work, you are giving your best, and when you're giving your best, you're hoping that your retirement will be okay. But it is unfortunate that somebody cunning is hoping that you'll give your best so that he benefits from your sweat. Honorable Speaker, there is need for this petition to be taken to a conclusion, because in 2013, this petition also was addressed by the court, but whatever verdict that the court gave was not honored. Honorable Speaker, justice should not be delayed. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Fatuma Dulo, keep it short, senators.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll be very short. Number one, I wanted to contribute to the pension. Mr. Speaker, as my colleagues have said, the former local authority members of staff, they are really discriminated. The trustees are taking the huge chunk of their savings from them. I think that matter really quickly needs to be resolved, and I hope the committee will look into that. Number two, issues of IDPs. There was a lot of disparity in terms of how the budget was allocated or the money was allocated. And a very good example is my own county, where people living in Kenya from post-election violence, up to now, they have not been compensated. Finally, Mr. Speaker, issues of land is emotive. It's not only the IDP of 2007 post-election violence. There are so many Kenyans who are actually displaced. Kenyans themselves who are living in their own land today, they are being dispossessed because of the manner in which Ministry of Land is actually handling the land issues. A very good example is Yolo County, where we had a petition and a statement before the Lands Committee. This matter has not been resolved up to now. Today in my own county, the county government is giving letters of allotment without actually subjecting the list of the beneficiaries to the communities to look at it and see whether they are affected or not. I think matters of land needs to be handled with a lot of seriousness that it deserves in this country. I thank you.
Senator Ledama. 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, I'll be very brief. I rise to support the three petitions, and I'd like to request the committee that will be tasked with petition number 3, that has to do with the blasting of dams, to extend their work to the blasting of, or the source of materials for the construction of the SGR railway. Mr. Speaker, sir, there are so many people who were admitted in hospitals. They paid serious bills. Some of them have permanent damages to their health. When the SGR was being constructed, particularly in Narok County, in a place called Sia Bay, where children, an orphanage, where children live there in the mercy of other people, yet they were allowed to continue blasting and getting the material. Mr. Speaker, sir, the issue of NEMA. NEMA is devolved, and I think county governments are now failing in ensuring that NEMA carries out their function. And it behooves us as members of this House who represent counties to ensure that we push NEMA to guarantee a good environment for our citizens. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, sir, on this issue of IDPs. I'm a firm believer that before someone becomes an IDP, they have a home. So the government ought to ensure that those people who were evicted from their homes, their original homes, due to the issue of political instability in the country, are facilitated to be able to be returned back to their home. And finally, Mr. Speaker, on this issue of pension, it is evil for people to spend money, which is money that has been contributed by civil servants, by Kenyans, people who are working. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, because I see the time is up, I'd like to propose that the committee comes up with serious recommendations for setting up
Your time is up.
Various civil and criminal.
Your time is up, Senator Ladama. What's your point of intervention, Senator?
Mr. Speaker, although the Honorable Senator has left the floor, but it will be wrong for it to be on record because he stated that NEMA is devolved. It is not. If you look at 4th schedule, NEMA and the protection of environment is under the national government, and it's item number 22. So it better. They only have field offices, but it's not devolved. It will be wrong for it to be on record that NEMA is devolved.
It's true. That's the position. You can read it later, Senator Ledama. We don't have a lot of time. You are off. You are off the mic. Are you reading a different document?
We have engaged NEMA, and NEMA themselves have devolved their services. Okay? So if
They have decentralized, Senator Ledama. Finally, Senator Wambua.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity to comment on this statement. The petitions, I will be very brief, but I must inform my friend, Senator Fonaro, that there's a difference between centralization and devolution.
Consult in Lawton's,
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Senator.
Mr. Speaker, on the matter of the petition that you read from residents of Makueni, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that this is a very unfortunate situation. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, because the reason why people in this country petition this House is because they expect that their matters will be processed and they will get results. It's the same reason why members here bring statements to the floor. The Speaker, the matter of pollution arising from blasting in construction sites across this country has been a thorn in the flesh of communities neighboring capital projects. In Kitui, along the Kibwezi Kitui Road, there have been several cases which have been brought to the floor of this House, Mr. Speaker, given to the Committee on Roads and Transportation, where I sit. The Speaker, to date, those people are awaiting results. The Speaker, I was going to be standing to comment on this matter and say, going forward, Mr. Speaker, I will urge the Chair, the Speaker of the Senate, to ensure that the Speaker directions that are given on statements, on petitions, on motions, the Speaker, they are implemented to the letter, because this is the only way that we are going to heighten public confidence in the Senate, so that we are not just seen as a talking house. We are a house of record. We are a serious house, Mr. Speaker, for legislation and representation. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Bomet, what is your... You know, not everybody can... we have really overshot our time. I'll give you an opportunity during statements which are just coming. Honorable Senators, pursuant to Standing Order 2321, the petition should be committed to the relevant standing committee for its consideration. In this case, I direct that the petition be committed to the Standing Committee on Land, Environment and Natural Resources. So in terms of Standing Order 2322, the committee is required in not more than 60 calendar days from the time of reading the prayer to respond to the petitioner by way of a report addressed to the petitioner and laid on the table of the Senate. On the petition on railway staff, Honorable Senators, pursuant to Standing Order 2321, the petition should be committed to the relevant standing committee for its consideration. In this case, I direct that the petition be committed to the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare. In terms of Standing Order 232, the committee is required in not more than 60 calendar days from the time of reading the prayer to respond to the petitioner by way of a report addressed to the petitioner and laid on the table of the Senate. I thank you. And finally,